Previously here in the studio, I sketched out the white pine tree and I did some prints of the white pine tree needles. And in this week's video, I'm hoping to put these to good use and work on the white pine tree painting. Hopefully, fingers crossed, going to finish that painting. First, here's a quick introduction in case you're new around here.
Hi there, I'm Stacy, the Encaustic Mixed Media artist behind Studio Stacy. Encaustic literally means to burn in. So I paint with beeswax and a torch, and because it's mixed media, pretty much anything else I can get my hands on. If you're new around here, welcome. If you're a returning viewer, welcome back. Consider subscribing and joining this artsy community. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up button, which helps me get introduced to more like-minded artsy folks like yourself. Good afternoon, all. It is like 1:30 or something here. Let me see. 1:35. So it's quite a bit later than what I normally like to get over here into the studio. But it was dumping down rain all morning long. And there's kind of like pros and cons to what I'm finding out about not having the studio right inside our house. My previous studio, I literally just walked upstairs. It was in our house. The pros to that is it didn't really matter what it was doing outside. I could just walk upstairs. And it's not like I can't get wet, right? It's not like I'm going to melt in the rain. But I don't know. I just didn't feel like coming over here. So it was productive anyways. I got some video editing done, which needed to be done, but I have finally made it over here. And today's plan, this afternoon's plan, is to get this panel here prepped with some encaustic medium and maybe some white encaustic paint. See how much time I have and how long it takes for that white encaustic paint to melt down on the griddle. That's kind of the, I don't want to say a sticking point, but it's kind of the downside of having paint in the tins versus just melting them directly on the griddle, because it takes a little while for it to melt down in the tin. The encaustic medium doesn't take long at all, I think because it's a bigger surface on the like fry griddle, but it does take longer in the tins on like the pancake griddle, if you will. So anyways, oh, let me show you something else that I brought over. Hold, please. All right, I brought this luggage scale. You're supposed to hook this onto luggage to weigh luggage. But I'm going to attempt to hook it onto this panel to see how much the panel weighs prior to putting any paint or encaustic wax on it. And I'm doing that because I've had a couple people ask like the amount of wax that I put down on these paintings. I thought it would be an interesting experiment to see how much the panel weighs before the encaustic paint goes on and then how much it weighs afterwards to kind of get a somewhat approximate idea of how much wax gets put on each painting. Now this isn't as big of a paintings as some of them, but I thought I might be able to do some math and maybe kind of figure it out, like how much per square inch of wax or square feet of wax weighs. So anyways, I just thought it'd be interesting, so I'm going to weigh it, and then hopefully at the end of this video this painting will be done and we will weigh it again. All right, so we're going to see if I can get this luggage scale hooked on to the back of this somehow. It doesn't have a hanger on it or anything like that yet, so we'll see how this goes. Wish me luck. Luckily there's no paint on it yet either, so if it, you know, falls, in theory it shouldn't harm anything. Let's see. 2.2 pounds. That's what this weighs. I don't know if you can see that, but I weighed it again just to verify. So 2.2 pounds. All right, so I think I'm gonna stick you on time-lapse mode now, get these edges taped up, get some, at least probably about 6 layers of encaustic medium down. That's usually about what I do. And then we'll see if the white encaustic paint is hot enough to paint with after that and see what time it is. So anyways, here you go, time-lapse mode. All right, all. I don't know if you can hear that on the roof, but it is raining again. It has started back up. But I did get the white paint down here, several layers of encaustic medium. Hopefully you're gonna be able to hear me over this. And I'm gonna make a mad dash back to the barn dominium now and get dinner started. So I will pick you all back up hopefully tomorrow to work more on the background of this. But I'll flip the camera around and show you the nice white panel. Hey all, back here in the studio getting ready to work on this white pine tree painting. And I have kind of made another decision. You may or may not have seen a previous video, I think it was a couple of videos ago. At any rate, doesn't matter when. But basically I was talking about all things encaustic paint, whether it was store-bought paint or the paint that I make, all things encaustic paint. And I kind of, I don't know, had a question in my head, specifically on the store-bought encaustic paints, like how much of this does it take to paint a painting? And since I already had weighed this panel before I had any paint down on it, I thought this would be a good test for that. So what I'm gonna do is also weigh my encaustic paint colors that I'm planning on using on this painting before I put any down on the painting, obviously. And then what I'll do is I'll weigh them in the end when the painting is done. Now, I'm not gonna be able to weigh my encaustic medium or white encaustic paint because it's in griddles and in pans, tins already. But specifically, I'm gonna weigh the paint colors, and then we'll see how much of this I use in a painting. And basically, this is the style of painting I'm gonna be doing along with, you know, like these two tree paintings I'm gonna be doing except for the white pine tree. So not all of it, obviously, is the paint colors. There's a lot of encaustic medium down here and this, you know, encaustic white paint. The trees have been embedded, or the leaves rather are embedded watercolor leaves. But I think it'll give me, and perhaps you all, a good idea. Okay, so these are the 3 background paint colors. 2 of these are paints that I have made. This is a store-bought paint from Encausticos. It's Pompeii Red, I believe. That's how you say that. So this is the background colors. These are going to be the tree itself colors. And I think I said in a previous section of this video, I might mix in some of this brown, but these are the colors. So in the tree, I have a black that I've made and this brown that I might use that I made. But these 3 are the store-bought paints. And actually, all 3 of these are also Encausticos. So yeah, we'll see where it goes. I have my scale out and we're gonna get to weighing these. I will flip the camera around here momentarily and show you the scale that I'm using. I think I'm probably gonna weigh them in grams. It's either grams or ounces, but I think I'll probably weigh them in grams because I already have it set to that. So yeah, I'll flip the camera around and show you that. And what I think I'm going to do is if all of this paint kind of piles neatly onto my scale, I'm just going to weigh it all at one time. And then again, in the end, I'll just weigh it all at the same time. So I'm not going to weigh each individual paint color. So I don't know, hopefully this will be interesting for you all. All right, so there you go, 175.5 grams before I start painting. So I think what I'm probably gonna do, because I've done this kind of technique several times for y'all, I will probably put you on time lapse so you're not completely bored out of your mind while I'm painting the background, hoping to get most of this background completely done today in this particular studio session. So we'll see where we go, but yeah, time lapse time for you all. All right, I think the background is done. It's underneath all of this. And I think what I'm gonna do is embed the leaf prints next and maybe wait on embedding the tree till the next studio session. I think that's my plan, and that way everything can kind of make sure everything's cured and, you know, all of this stuff, and then I'll do the tree in the next studio session. But I just wanted to flip the camera around and show you the rough layout that I kind of have in my head. We are getting some much needed rain out there, so hopefully you can hear me over the drops on the roof. Seems to be a theme, I think, in this video. Anyways, I'm gonna flip the camera around and show you this, show you the background, and I think it's done. So yeah, let me flip the camera around and I'll show you that, and yeah, we'll go from there. All right, here it is, and I think this is also where I am going to leave you for today. I will, of course, be picking you back up momentarily to at least put the tree down and maybe even finish this painting in the next studio session. We will see, but I'm gonna stop talking because it is now really coming down and I need to make a run for it over to the barn dominium. So we'll see you here shortly. morning all. The other day I got in here and finished the white pine tree, and now I just need to add the words to the background, maybe finalize a few little things here and there, take the tape off, and this one is done. But I don't remember if I flipped the camera around and showed you the tree or not, so I will flip it around here now, show you this tree, and yeah, we'll put the words down on the background and go from there. All right, here's what the background looks like without the words so far. I think it's coming out really nicely. I'm liking the tree. I also, there was another white pine needle print over here and you could still see it, but I went over this a bit more and covered it up because the tree was not popping out enough to me. And now I think just, it's like these tiny little touches that if painting's not working, take a step back, look at it, and then figure out, what area isn't working. And I decided that this area wasn't working, covered that up, and I think it looks much nicer. The tree really pops out on the surface now, so which is what I wanted it to do. All right, so let's put these words down and we'll go from there. I think this looks pretty good, so I'm going to take the tape off of it and then we can weigh it, and I'm going to weigh the paint before I forget to weigh the paint. So yeah, we'll get the final results of how much paint this entire painting took and also how much of the paint color I used. First though, take the tape off so we don't add any extra weight to it. Got the tape off, and I actually had to look back at the video to see how much this painting weighed from the beginning, and it was 2.2 pounds. So anybody have any guesses as to what it might weigh now? I have the luggage scale here, so we're gonna weigh it and see what happens. Any guesses? Take them now. I guess I should give you my guess too before I weigh it, and I'm honestly not sure at all. So I'm gonna say 2.8 pounds. I almost went up to 3. Let's say 2.9 pounds. That's what I'm gonna say, 2.9. We're gonna find out. All right, and I also have to say that it's a little nerve-wracking weighing a finished painting hanging from this teeny tiny little clip here. So hopefully it doesn't fall off. I'm a little bit nervous, but anyways, let's weigh it, shall we? See if I can get it secured on here correctly. Oh, probably help if I turn the power on too, huh? Okay, it's reading 0. Here we go. I should have gone with my first guess. 2.8. 2.8 pounds. So 0.6 pounds of wax in total. I'll weigh it one more time just to make sure. There you have it, 2.8 both times. All right, so now we have the total weight of the amount of encaustic wax used. Now I'm going to measure these paint colors, which again, I had to look back at the video. It was 175.5 grams initially when I weighed them. I don't think I used a whole lot. So I'm going to go with 174 grams. That might be a little low, but we're gonna see. All right, let's weigh this next. Any guesses? Make them now. Oh, I was really low on this one. 150.8. Woo, should have gone way higher. I should have known better on that one. Grams are not very much, but so about 25 grams. I'm kind of rounding that number, obviously. But again, not much, right? Like this little bit of wax goes a really long way. And I mean, I could have measured the whole inches or whatever, the actual, what do you want to call it? I guess inches of this, however you want to say that, before I started it. But I thought weight was more accurate. So yeah, you don't use a lot of paint. And again, this painting has a lot of white and more of a plain background. So rather than like a solid color background, but I think even if you did a solid color background, you really wouldn't use a lot. And I layer a lot, like you guys know. So, you know, some of these layers do get kind of covered up or muted down a bit. So anyways, now that we have that information, let me flip the camera around, show you this final painting in all its glory. All right, here it is. Take a few steps backwards. Really happy with how it came out. And yeah, and I think it's interesting to know, you know, how much encaustic paint and encaustic wax is used in a painting, just to kind of give you an idea. Also to give me an idea, because I think it kind of helps you, I don't know if budget is the right word, but it gives you a good inclination of approximately how much wax, encaustic wax, you are using on the painting, and how much it kind of costs in encaustic wax or encaustic materials. You can kind of take an average price, if you will, which I think would be interesting to do as well. So anyways, hope you enjoyed coming along on this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. It truly, truly does help me out. If you have any questions, or definitely let me know what your guesses were down there below in the comments. I would love to know if any of you were spot on or close. Obviously, I do pounds a lot better than I do grams, apparently. But at any rate, yeah, let me know if you have any questions, or I just want to say hi. I always love hearing from you all. Also, if you're not subscribed, consider subscribing. It really does help me out. Thanks so much for coming along. See you on the next one. Bye for now.